believe it or not, I have purchased a running, driving, mechanically sound car that's under 25 years old for $1,300. It was a screaming deal, and not only that, it's supercharged, it's a four-door, kind of classic, hidden gem, I would say, of an American car. It's a 1997 Pontiac Grand Prix GTP supercharged. I'm probably like the most excited person to say this in the past 10 years, but I think it's really cool and I want to show you why. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so the year is 1997. Bill Clinton is the president. Princess Diana has passed away, unfortunately, in a car accident. And somebody who you know, Diddy, who was famous back then for much different reasons, had two of the top 5 100 Billboard hits of the year. Now, Pontiac, who doesn't exist anymore, back then was rolling out some pretty cool stuff. They came out with this, I think this was the first year of this model, where they supercharged essentially the regular four-door sedan. And they cranked out this in 1997, which had pretty good numbers for the day. It had about 240 horsepower, could do 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds, which, if you ask me, is pretty good, because like a modern Civic Si, like of this year, does the same numbers. So if you can believe that I got this for $1,300, I think it's a pretty good deal, and that's why I'm excited about it. Let me show you under the hood. So some of you enthusiasts may recognize this engine. It's the same engine in a lot of Buicks, a lot of different cars, even Chevys. Essentially, it's Buick's like legendary 3.8 liter V6. These are notorious for going, 3, 4, even 500,000 miles. And what Pontiac did is essentially they slapped a big old supercharger on it. So that was to the detriment of the transmission, right? These aren't known for having super long-lasting transmissions, but if you can believe that I could buy a supercharged, car for this much, it's pretty astounding. And, for the power it gives, it's like a perfect, family car or even a commuter. I mean, this gets about 27 miles a gallon, which is pretty crazy. So as you can see, this thing is super well taken care of. I mean, it's got like Michelin's with like great tread on them. Granted, they're about 5 or 6 years old, but they're still good. You can tell just the guy who took it. Unfortunately, it was an older gentleman who passed away, but this thing was super well taken care of. And look at this. This is the coolest part about this car. Look at the mileage on it. It only has 115,000 miles, and you can tell like all of it's super clean. Like, this thing is just freaking mint. Almost everything works on it, honestly. It says it has heads-up display. I don't know how that works. I tried to messing around with it and I haven't seen anything. I don't know if there's like a, yeah, it looks like there is something up here. I wonder if it has heads-up display and if I could fix that. Really, the only blemishes on it are back here. You can see the spoilers starting to have the clear coat come off, but I can order one of those for a couple $100. And other than that, they said the belt needed to be replaced. The serpentine belt did look kind of old, but these engines really don't need much. The transmission fluid was good. And maybe we'll take it for a spin, and then once we get back, we'll put it up on jacks and see how it looks. All right, let's go for a quick spin. This is honestly got to be one of the cleanest Grand Prix on the road, with like the lowest miles. Maybe not the cleanest, but I just can't believe like how nice this thing is. I think the only things I've noticed that are wrong with it are, for some reason, the AC doesn't like blow cold on the left side, and the fuel gauge doesn't work, which is awkward. When I was at the airport and I was grabbing my car to leave, it kind of stuttered, and I didn't realize it had literally less than half a gallon left. But otherwise, with a full tank of gas, this thing just starts right up. One thing that I kind of mentioned with these cars is the transmissions. They were always kind of weak to begin with. You might have to replace one after like 150,000 miles, depending on how you drove it. All right, let's get out of the way. I'll try not to hit any cyclists today. But yeah, it drives super straight. Honestly, there's like a little bit of a clunking So once we get the car back, I'll lift it up and see if we can notice anything. But there's a nice big straightaway, and I'll show you, like, from moving speeds, it accelerates pretty fast. Like, you know, from a stop, it's not that fast, but you will chirp the wheels a little bit, which is nice. It really has plenty of power, and I think on ZZP's website you can buy some like bolt-ons to make the supercharger spin faster and things like that. I don't know, but let's give it a little bit of a rev and see how it goes. So yeah, it just has plenty of like freeway pulling power. You know, if we go from a, there's somebody back there, but they're not too far away. Let's go. Damn, wow, okay. Right up to 60. I don't know how fast that was, but that feels pretty fast, honestly, for a 27, 28-year-old car. Alright, let's turn around before we get pulled over and check this thing out. All right, let's take a closer look. Based on everything I was seeing, the oil looks pretty good. The computer says that the engine life is low, but the, sorry, not engine life, but the oil life is low. I don't know if you can see that. It looks pretty golden. We can change on it and reset the computer perhaps, but the oil looks fine to me. Transmission fluid, the guy said it had been changed recently. It looks nice and red, like perfect. The brakes feel really solid. Plenty of fluid left in it. The coolant was low, and I topped it off. Let's check it out. This thing's kind of get off. Wow, it's low as well. Is there a leak or something? I think there is a reservoir here. Let's get a flashlight. Alright, so that's a little concerning. The coolant is low, and it's like bone dry, and I just topped it up before I left the house the other day. Looks like there's like none in the reservoir too. Either we have a leak, which is possible. I don't see any remnants unless it dried up yesterday. Or a blown head gasket, right? Let's hope that's not the case. And then another thing is there's a big old hole. You shouldn't be able to do that with your fingers. I won't make any jokes about that. But this needs to be replaced. Last thing that they said is that the belt was old. I'll take you closer. And I guess he took it to a shop and they said that the belt needed to be changed and that the tie rods needed to be replaced. So let's check it out and take a look. All right, I'll show you. The belt looks, it's got some cracks, but they're pretty minimal, honestly. Not sure it really needs to be replaced. And then look at this. Totally empty. I mean, there's some in there, but not very much. And then this is the reservoir, and it's like as if it hasn't seen coolant in years. So maybe it's pressurizing this and getting out because this is pretty loose. And there's like a crack here. I don't know. I do have a head gasket tester. We could try that out. I mean, I honestly don't know if that needs to be replaced or not. It's really not that bad, but maybe it does. Okay, so I just topped it off with coolant. It's tilted, so of course the coolant just goes all right there, as designed. But I was putting the overflow cap on, and I noticed there was a little bit of a hole here. And you can see, if you can see that, but it goes right through the other end. So we could replace this, you know, when it's getting really hot, and maybe when I overfilled it, it was pushing it back into here and just spurting out. I mean, kind of looks like there are drips here. I don't know if you can see like the dirt and dust. Unfortunately, it's so hot here, it would have all dried up. So that could be the what's causing our coolant loss. So maybe I'll order a top for this and see if I can fix that. One last thing we should check is the air box. Okay. All right, well, we're gonna replace that. It's not too bad, but time to replace. All right, so I ordered a cabin air filter. This car has one air filter, spark plug boots. I think we might as well replace all of them. You can't really just buy one from what I was seeing anyway. Windshield washer reservoir, and then a new cap for the coolant overflow reservoir and an air filter. All right, you can see the damage I've done here. Don't pull from the stem, pull from the whole freaking thing. Let's see if I can get that off. Okay, there we go. Yeah, these are kind of weird coils that can be a little difficult to get off. Maybe I'll spray them with a WD-40. All right, so now I'm gonna switch to pulling the oil. Look how clean it is. And there, I just pulled the oil cap off. Looks really nice. See how it looks. Okay. Well, that's pretty normal. All right, here's the unholy mess. Of course, the filter just drips straight onto the frame. This one was my fault. And we got it buttoned up. Now I need to run to the store, buy a filter, some oil. And still not sure about if I'm gonna replace the coolant or not. All right, got myself a nice Wix filter. Probably nicer than we need, but that's all they had. Gonna dip it in a little bit of oil. I marked the date, miles on it. And let's spin this puppy on. Hand tight. Not so tight I have to freaking break it to get it off. All right, that should be good. Now let's take this guard off. And I've decided we are gonna drain the coolant. So this awful view. This guard needs to come off, and then you can see there's a little, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little fin here that will spin a nut on and should drain the coolant. Hopefully that doesn't mean 59181 was the last time the oil was changed, but it doesn't look that bad. So I don't know what's going on there. Alright, we're just gonna raw dog it here. I added coolant mistakenly. Sorry, I just draining it now. This looks like water. muddy because it's rusty because it's water. Don't run just water. And then the next step is we're waiting for the spark plugs. So spark plugs and wires, engine air filter. I ordered the windshield washer reservoir and a cabin air filter. So tonight we should be able to finish the spark plugs, wires, air filter. And then right now I'll top off the coolant that I got. And I think that'll be, I'll push the car back. Or I can just wait. It should be here soon and go get the spark plugs and wires and should just start right up. Fingers crossed. All right, so as you can see, that's the state of the coolant. It's pretty orange, a little dirty. We're gonna assume that we got all of it out in one go. I don't have the hose thing, otherwise I would spray the whole system out. I should have gotten one, but I didn't. So here we are. And I'm going to funnel in the coolant. All right, now we've got all the goods. Let's start replacing stuff. All right, time to clean this puppy up. Let's break out the big gun.